Financial Fashion Network is a media company and brand that promotes financial awareness, personal development, and mental health. And we have created platforms like We Invest Different podcasts that you're listening to right now. And we also have created a platform for our mental health community called MH10 Movement. If you support all that we do, you can go over to www.fnfstore.com where you can find our apparel. You can support the brand that way. Also, you can share the show, share with people, and tell them how great the conversations are. We appreciate all the support. Now let's get into the show.
Nah, son.
Damn. All right, cool, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this incense won't stay lit, bro.
What kind is it?
Probably some. I don't know what kind is it, but it's a corner store. That's probably what it is. A cheap one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, shoot, bro. We can go ahead and start. You want to? About to go ahead and tap in. Thank you for tuning in to another conversation of We Invest Different podcast. I'm co-host Mr. John Michael Best.
And I'm your other co-host, Victor Thomas II.
And I'm grateful today. I'm pretty sure the other king is too. Of us being alive today. You know what I'm saying? It's so great to be alive. I'm feeling great in the body today. Got done working out a little bit. I don't water my flowers. Yeah, bro, I got some flowers in the house now. I don't water them this morning. It's on the patio, but that's something new that I'm doing. But anyway, man, how you doing today? How you doing today, and what you got going on?
I'm good today, man. I'm still a little tired, but excited about the day. See how it's gonna go with their event. Probably need to get another nap in. You know, I was up late last night kicking it, but I'm good, man. Just a little tired, but I'm good.
That's good, bro. So, tapping in to the conversation. No, first of all, let's give the spotlight to that. The Holistic House. Yeah, I do want to mention that. First of all, you mentioned the event. We are having an event at the Holistic House, which is a family-owned company that has sourced produce in the community. And that's such a great thing. You know, we are definitely creating a staple in the community in South Georgia, Glenwood area, Lumber City area. And I'm so happy about that. So I just wanted to mention that they're having an open mic tonight and also a vendor event tomorrow. So kudos to the Holistic House and the great work that's being done.
Yeah, right.
So tapping into the conversation. We got a great conversation today, man. And it's so aligned with the conversation we had last week. So with that being said, the topic of choice was, do you want to bring the topic in, King?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, the topic is basically control versus conflict. And basically that's just, you know, exploring how do we maintain self-control when we face with a conflict or a stressful situation. And I just thought that would be very important because, you know, a lot of times I find myself responding to stuff out of emotion, and that typically changes the trajectory of where I'm headed. So I realized that me being able to have that self-control not only grants me control of, you know, my actions and myself, but also my journey, my path. So I thought that we would just touch on that a little bit because I'm pretty sure that everybody can relate. So starting off, I just wanted to ask you, cause what comes to mind when you hear the word self-control?
Self-control is real deep, brother. Um, I really like self-control because that's something I'm working on right now. So what comes to mind when I hear self-control is literally what it says, bro. Control of self, and like control of self and control of the capacities of self, which means your mind. So ultimately, in my opinion, when it comes down to conflict versus control, it brings me back to conflict resolution and like something real specific you said when we was talking about the topic in our text messages. You said that self-control while in conflict,
Right.
like during conflict, self-control during conflict. And in my opinion, bro, it's like if you wait to prepare yourself when conflict is already there, then you're gonna lose the battle. So in my opinion, the question is, how can we prepare ourselves? It's really about preparation. Now that we know that we have a problem with self-control, or we see that self-control is something we're working on, we have to become self-aware. So that's the first thing, self-awareness. So you becoming aware that, okay, I need more self-control. So then going into those situations, you'll be more prone to actually control your, the situation because you thought about it earlier. You already had a mindset. You had a mindset. That's what a mindset is. Your mind was set on actually increasing your self-control before the situation happens. So once the situation comes, you'll have a little bit more preparation. You have a little bit more power.
How a person supposed to do that though? Like, how is a person supposed to prepare? You know what I'm saying?
Self-awareness. See, if you don't see yourself and that you have a problem with self-control, then you won't never attain it. So that the first step would be actually looking in the mirror and be like, you know what, bro? I got a self-control issue. So from that point, you'll have self-awareness. So when that situation happens again, you'll be like, oh man, I feel myself rising. Like, I already know I got a problem with self-control. So you'll start to avoid situations, or you'll start trying to work on yourself to get through situations without exploding. So first, I feel the first thing is self-awareness, bro. Before you change, before you progress, you got to start with self-awareness because it's going to prepare you when those situations come.
Right.
So that's number one for me, bro.
That's a good one. And also, I think another thing to recognize is like our triggers. You know what I mean? What's that stuff that get us in that space? And be able to acknowledge it. And then we can kind of put stuff in place in our code of ethics, you know what I mean, to help us maneuver around whatever that is with our, self-control issue.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And two, that has a lot to do with environment. That's a big factor, bro, in self-control. Sometimes we don't think about that, but environment, it's really like one of the biggest factors. And I'm gonna explain why. Because I think sometimes we make excuses for, because us men, right? Being men, we want to be strong. And we actually have a habit of being strong. So sometimes when we say we have a problem with something, it makes us feel weak. So I say that to say that I hope I ain't lose my train of thought. I'm trying to stay on course. What was I saying, brother?
You was just in the beginning of it. I couldn't tell where you were going yet.
Okay, it's gonna come back to me. I know I ain't lose nothing. It's gonna come back to me, but I know that when we speaking about, we want to be strong as men. So when it comes down to communicating, that's something that we have to work on doing. So in the midst of having a conflict, sometimes we tend to make ourselves deal with things when we don't have to. That's where I was going. Because we so used to being strong, right? So in our relationships, whether it be a romantic relationship, business relationship, or just a friendship, we sometimes just in the habit of being strong, we tend to take things that we don't deserve. So I'm also starting to learn that self-control also comes with self-love. You have to love yourself, knowing that you have this trigger, right? You just spoke about triggers. Knowing that this person or this thing is triggering you, you have to love yourself enough to remove yourself from that environment, because you have to become a priority. Like your emotions, your mental health, like your mood has to become a priority, because it's going to become toxic if you got to keep facing the same temptation over and over and over again when you're trying to change. That's not healthy. And I'm learning that myself. Man. Like, you can't keep doing things over and over and over again, and then we'll make an excuse for ourselves saying that, oh, I just got to get strong enough. I get better with dealing with this. Instead of changing the environment. Like, we just deal with stuff instead of changing the environment. And
I think that's some real shit, bro. You just made me think about.
What's that?
Like, sometimes that junk do be the environment. But sometimes, like, when we run into situations like that, it be we don't want to change on the inside. So we try to change the environment. Like, we like to blame. I say it's like two people in a situation, right? And one person is getting frustrated about what the other person is doing, right?
Right.
And they want the person to change, stop doing this, stop doing that, blase, whatever. And then they don't see the change, and now it's a problem. But what the person that want the change to happen, what they sometimes forget is that in order for that person to change, it may require you to change too. You can't just sit back and be like, change. You know what I mean? Like, help. Maybe you got to adjust something on your end. Because I remember my grandmama told me before she passed away, rest her soul, she said a lot of times when you be mad or upset about something, it be you.
Wow, that's deep, bro.
So when it comes to that self-control, it really comes to looking at self. We like to blame other people. They did this, so I responded this way. That's childish. Shouldn't nobody be able to throw us off our square, bro.
That's a fact. That's a fact, and that's so aligned. That's a line. Like, I'm glad we on the same page with that, bro, because that's a big problem too. Like, on the flip side of what I just said, that's a problem also. Like, on the other hand, we can point out issues, and sometimes we will continue to take, problems. We tend to deal with problems instead of actually changing. But on the flip side of that, we like to request change without demanding change from ourselves.
Right.
So I think we can get a lesson. We can get a lesson from both ends. Like, you don't have to continue to put yourself through torment if you're really trying to change. If your environment is tormenting you, you don't have to remain in that environment. That's one lesson. But the flip side is that you could also be the cause of the environment being messed up. So you have to look at yourself and see what you can do to make the environment better before you just play the blame game.
Right. And always, and I'm just speaking to, like, relationship this day and age. A lot of people breaking up and shit. Divorce is a thing now. So I just want to also add in, like, before you decide to exit, whether it be a relationship, business partnership, whatever it is, a friendship, before you decide to exit, really do that self-analyzation and see, is it me first? What can I do on my end to make this better first before I get to blaming the other person? Because I can do something about me. I can't necessarily do something about them.
I agree, brother. So that brings me to my question. Well, to our question, per se. What's three things, brother, what's three tips that you can give personally that'll help someone, or what's three things that you use personally when you're meeting conflict? 3 pointers on self-control.
I think you really hit it on the head with that first one. That first one is crucial, man. That acknowledging that you got an issue.
Yes.
Man, that's the very first thing, bro. And 2, I would say, recognize your triggers. Like, sit down and really think about think about every time. What I'm gonna say, this what I did. I sat down and thought about every time, and still do, when I think about times I get upset. and really trace the whole entire situation from the start and see, okay, what was it about this situation that ticked me off? And then make a mental note of that. And just be conscious of it. That's really it is, having that consciousness. And
Right.
3, for me, I would say 3 would be like when the moment is occurring, don't speak for relief. That's number 1 for me. I can't speak for relief. A lot of times when I'm frustrated, I feel like I want to talk about it because I want to solve the problem. But nah, once I sat down and thought about it, I want to talk because I want relief. I want to get off what I want to say. This frustration, I want to put it off onto the other person. That's speaking for relief. But we got to make sure we speaking for a solution. Whatever I say needs to be filled with love and a solution, not frustration.
That's a great lesson for the Kings. That's a great lesson for the Kings. I was definitely getting ready to make some content. It was on my mind to make some content for us Kings, man, out here, because our anger is different in comparison to a queen. We're naturally stronger. We're naturally more aggressive. So like when we get angry, like I say all the time, we can hurt somebody. So I'm not saying that women can't hurt somebody. It's women that hurt people too. But I'm just saying for how God set up the earth, how the Creator set us up to be the strongest being. You know, so us naturally being the strongest vessel, we have to keep that in mind. So that brings me to my 3, bro. I thought about this because I deal with anger. Being transparent, like I deal with this, like I live this shit. This is my life, so I can give some real transparent steps, like you know what I'm saying? So I gave one of mine first. One of mine I gave it earlier in the conversation, which was preparation, because that's a big one for me. Because I know, like in the moment, I'm not prepared. I'm gonna just be 100 with you. Like in the moment, I'm not prepared. So I seen that I had to prepare before the moment came. I tried to wait till the moment come and try to breathe and try to do all of the things that I was supposed to do beforehand. See, that stuff don't work beforehand. That stuff don't work unless you put in the work beforehand. See, you have to work on yourself when things aren't happening. So when things do happen, you'll be there. You'll be on point.
On the head, for real. For real.
So,
you can't just jump on the NBA court first day, be like, I'm finna win. You got to train that thing up, man. Train that skill.
For what?
For real.
They have training camps months in advance before the season even starts. So preparation, number 1 for me. Number 2 is practice walking away. And that's one thing that I hit on. That's one thing that I hit on last week. Like for the Kings out there, man, don't be ashamed to walk away. Because I know a lot of this stuff comes from pride. And us being a man, you know, us being a man and not wanting to take down, trying to prove something to a woman when the woman already know. You really don't got to prove anything. You're really you're really acting more feminine when you're trying to prove yourself with your words. Trying to prove yourself with your words is feminine, because women like to talk and gossip and do all of that stuff. Men, we act, we move. So like, that's why it's so important that it's very masculine to self-control is masculine.
Right.
You know, so it's like, and we spoke about that last week, you know, how masculinity, we need to understand what masculinity is all about and find balance also with the feminine portion of ourselves. But masculinity, since we are men, masculinity is the most important thing. So we can't neglect masculinity at all. So like we may have problems finding balance on the feminine portion, but for God's sake, let us not have a problem with masculine.
Right.
So when it comes to self-control, man, don't be afraid to walk away, because I have been afraid to walk away in the past. I literally in my heart felt like I was losing. Like I felt like I was losing something when I walk away from things. But now I feel power by walking away. Like I feel empowered. I feel so much more power when I walk away now, because I'm not allowing nothing on the outside to change my spirit. I wanna have peace and love, and I want to give that to every single person. And like, because of that preparation that I talked about, man, and because of where I am right now, I've recently, man, been doing this consistently. I wouldn't talk about it if I only did it once, but I recently, like, consistently, I've been able to take a walk and avoid getting to places that I don't want to go, because I'm taking control of my life. I'm taking control of my love for self. Like, I don't want to go to places, so I'm no longer going to give nobody power to take me places I don't want to go. I'm not a slave to nobody.
Real talk.
So that's another point, man. Like, don't be afraid to walk away, and don't be a slave to nobody. So number three is also, man, turn your diet into a living. We have to change the way we eat. We have to eat better foods, because it has been scientifically proven that what we eat encourages mental health. So the quality of what you eat is also going to determine the quality of your attitude. So it's been scientifically proven that processed foods has been linked to aggression. And I was explaining that men show anger and aggression in different ways. So that's why it's very pivotal, and it's very important that we practice self-control, because check this out. You know that when men show anger, right? When men show emotions, let me rephrase that. When men show emotion, we can't seem weak. That's very big in the men community, right? So instead of expressing themselves in conversation without anger, we tend to use anger because we don't. It's the same thing that video show, that reel that you sent me.
Which one?
The reel that you sent. It's a reel that you sent to yourself on Instagram. I think you sent it to the We Invest Different page or something. But there was this woman that was explaining how, how we as men, we show anger in different ways. So, like, of course, we can't show softness. We can't show, there's certain emotions that we can't show without being called soft or feminine. So we tend to use aggression because that's what's accepted as men. Like, that's what's accepted in society for a man to be. It has always been accepted for a man to be aggressive and be angry, because that's what they think men are supposed to be. We're supposed to be animals. But that's not true. So now that's why I talked about, we have to really have an expectation for self, and we have to ask our questions how we want to be. Stop going by what somebody else saying you should be. Like, how do you want to live? How do you want to feel? So dialing back, the way we eat has a lot to do with how we respond to situations, because hormones is real, and everything that we eat, it encourages our hormones, whether it's testosterone or whether it's estrogen. Testosterone is the male hormone. Estrogen is the female hormone. And of course, they make you act differently, and they make your body grow in different ways. We can get into detail on that, but it's not the show for it. It's not the conversation for it. But I'm just tapping in. So those are my three, bro. Like, definitely transparent. That's why I'm changing the way I eat, because I deal with anger. And I know that some of the stuff that I eat, especially meat, I was a lot more angrier when I ate meat.
Yeah, I heard something a while ago talking about that. Them animals be under stress when they get slaughtered, and I heard that stress transfers over into the meat, and we sat there and eat it. That's what I heard.
Yep. It's in the blood. It's in the blood. That's why you don't shoot a deer in the head. Like, it immediately it shocks the body. And how can you shock the body without shocking the blood? The blood is the life of the body. What's in the blood? Blood cells. Cells without cells will die. Our body is full of cells. Cells is the life of the body. So, yeah, we're going to get into a whole nother conversation.
I got you. But yeah, I just want to, going back to what you said, man, I was really liking all the tips you were giving. And when you said something about walking away, it made me think about one more important piece of the self-control, bro. Faith. It's like, I know, like, in situations where I'm learning to walk away, I'm noticing that it's hard for me to walk away because I lack faith. I lack faith that whatever this issue is, I lack faith that God gonna handle it. So I'm trying to put it off into my hands and use my own understanding of the situation instead of just trusting God and leaving it alone. And I can't tell you, bro, how many times where I walked away from a situation, not just a relationship or something like that, just an issue, when I didn't know what to do, but I'm still turning my wheels. But the time I stopped turning my wheels and let it go, it handled itself, bro. And I think that's an integral part to the self-control. Knowing that God gonna handle it. I'm stressed out right now, but it's gonna be okay.
I think that's number one, bro. Wow, that's really number one. Man, I'm glad you said that. That was alignment. I'm glad you went there, bro. So I'm gonna leave that there. That should have been number one.
To me. When you were doing your 3, that's when it hit me. So you inspired it, bro. Just talking about your process, it really, I appreciate you talking about your process because it really had me thinking like, dang, what was it like when I was doing that? You know what I mean? Or how would I look like in that situation? I think that's a good thing that everybody should do. I just thought about it, like, you ain't got to go through everything to, gain that understanding. Like you can look at somebody else and receive knowledge.
Wisdom.
And I know that may seem simple, but it's big for me because growing up I always was the type like, I want to find out for myself. And this whole time I could have just been observing. So I just wanted to put that out there, man. Observe other people. Hear what people say. Listen. Because you'll pick up. And it'll mess around and help you later on if you faced with the same situation. So just wanted to spread that kind of consciousness out there. Everything is learning experience.
Well, that's number one. And everything else gonna fall under that one, bro. Good stuff. Going on into our next segment. Did we want to do the Melanated Minds in Business today, or do we want to go into what you learned?
Yeah, we can do. We kind of mentioned it already. That's why I ain't say nothing at first. I wanted to wait, but
oh dang, okay,
yeah, but I know we had discussed doing another one, but we can go ahead and do this one since this was going on right now. But yeah, I just wanted to shoot a spotlight to Holistic House, located in Glenwood, Georgia. They sell a variety of products. They got produce. I tried a sea moss smoothie, which was pretty good today. Got a lot of different fruits. They have like different oils and salt, bath salts and juices. And I heard they have this peanut brittle that's doing good too out here. So I'm gonna go check it out a little more in depth today when things in full swing. I stopped by today during after hours to help with some stocking. But today I really get a full experience, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, big ups to them and everything that they doing. Holistic House. You can find them on Facebook, The Holistic House. They have a website that'll be going live, I want to say, by next week. Maybe today, but I want to say next week just to be sure. And they will be doing online orders. So if anyone is interested in some of these products that are very good for you, look them up on Facebook. We'll also post a link on our social media page to their social media page so you can tap in.
Yeah, definitely. We need to put our links. We need to actually put that link inside of our link tree.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let me write that down.
And two, I really want to sponsor this every episode. I know that we're just starting this segment, Melanated Minds in Business, but I actually want to mention this every episode. Like, not an episode should go by where we don't mention Holistic House.
I'm with it.
So yeah, kudos, shout out to Holistic House. Great business. So if you're looking for help, or if you're on the southern end of the state, or if you want to take a trip, it's go see some country, go see the fields, go get out there and get that real good fruit. I'm just coming from the southern country, where they actually do farm. Come out of the city. If you're from Atlanta, if you're from Metro Atlanta, from any city that don't have a country to it, come down to the farm, come down where the farms are, where people actually grow their food and get some authentic produce. So stop on over to Holistic House. They are there. Not sure the schedule. What's the schedule, King? You got a schedule?
We'll get it all
days
into
a week they
social
open?
media. Just check our social media and we'll have all that information on there.
That's a bet. Now, leading on to our next segment of financial theme of the month. Like we said last week, the emergency fund is vital. And another point or two on top of that. In the midst of me building my emergency fund, bro, stuff be happening.
Yes, sir.
So that's one part of where I had to accept. I didn't understand it, and I was just battling with myself. And it's like, how am I ever supposed to build an emergency fund if I keep having to use it? And that's what it's for. It's not a savings account. So don't use your emergency fund as a savings account. There's a difference, man. Don't make that same mistake. Don't use your emergency fund as a savings account.
You got me over here crying, bro. The real talk, though. I'm laughing because, bro, I be feeling the same way sometimes, bro. Like, damn, bro, if it ain't one thing, it's another, man. You get into a good little spot, then boom, here comes something, bro.
Yeah.
God know what you mean. But that's real talk. People need to hear that, man.
That's what it's for. Like, I'm accepting now. Like, I'm just now getting to a place to say, like, duh, like, bro, that's why you do it. Like, that's why you create an emergency fund for when something happens. Now, let's say if you wasn't preparing for that moment, you would have zero. So at least you was preparing for something. Now I know you might not have reached the goal that you were shooting for, but you was actually reaching for something which made you be prepared for something. So that's a good thing, you guys. Don't get discouraged if you feel like every time you get to a certain place you got to spend something out your emergency fund. Always remember that's the reason why you build the emergency fund, to use it. Like, you have to use it. It's not the same as your investments, or it's not the same as your savings account. So when you're building your emergency fund, make sure you're allocating funds to go to that. Don't be using funds that you know you need for bills. So it's all about getting that strategy together and actually enjoying the process. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the process by not being so hard on yourself. Like, start small, and that way you won't be seeping over into other areas in your life. So with that being said, King, if you ain't got nothing else to say, it was a great conversation about control versus conflict. No, we gave three tips. Each of us gave 3 tips, our 3 transparent tips. And then King gave the ultimate pointer at the end. You know what I'm saying? So we got the number 1 pointer at the end, and everything else fell last. But with that being said, I'm co-host Mr. John Michael.
And I'm the co-host Victor Thomas II.
We appreciate y'all guys for tapping in to conversation number 63. We'll see y'all next time for conversation number 64. 2 Kings is gone.